Hello, everyone. My name is Rahim Buford, founder of the Unheard Voices Outreach. Today, I'm here with Leonard Smith, who is a friend of mine. We go back quite a few years. But for the purposes of this interview, Leonard is formerly incarcerated. And what I wanted to do with this interview is check in with Leonard in a way that it's normally not shared with the public, but I think it's very important to understand what some of the struggles are for individuals, or some of the successes for individuals, or just what it's like to transition out of prison after being in for a significant number of years. And so, to begin with, Leonard, introduce yourself to the audience of the Unheard Voices Outreach. Who is Leonard Smith?
Well, hey, how you doing? My name is Leonard Smith. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I've lived in Nashville most of my life. Graduated from Falk High School, went to Tennessee State. I have a son who's 31 years old who kind of followed my footsteps and graduated from TSU too. I'm just an average guy, you know what I'm saying, that made some mistakes and, found a way to correct those mistakes once I was released from prison.
So how long have you been out of prison, Leonard?
I've been out almost 90 days, about 90 days, yeah.
How long were you there in prison?
I was there roughly...
Total?
Yeah. This time or just...
Just total, just this time, but just in all. How long have you been in prison?
I've actually been incarcerated. I actually got incarcerated back in 1991, and off and on because of various reasons. Been in and out a couple of times. Actually, this was my third time that I got arrested and incarcerated back in 2013, and I was released October the 17th of 2019.
So, just whatever comes up, what did you lose? What did you gain? But first, what did you lose? And what I mean by what did you lose, everybody who goes to prison had a life before they were incarcerated. What did you lose? What would, as you look back all those years that you were in prison, what did you think you lost? Tell me what you lost.
I know exactly what I lost. The biggest thing that I lost was time. Time with my family, time with my son, time with my grandson. Time is something that you'll never be able to get back. And as a result of that, I found myself, it was funny, when I first came in to Turney Center, which is actually the first prison I transitioned into, I used to see a lot of older guys who had did like 20, 30 years and stuff like that at that particular prison. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, wow, I hope I don't ever become them. And as a result of me, not learning the lessons of the past, I actually became them in a lot of ways. And a lot of the young guys started looking at me like I was looking at them. So time was a huge factor. I mean, that's our most valuable asset. We can't get that back. And all of the monetary things and things of that nature, I had all that, you know what I mean? And, the cars, the houses, and, relationships. But, the time that I miss seeing, my family.
So time in a way is like abstract, but you say your family, but like, what hurt you the most? If you could think one or two things that, for all the times you've ever been in prison, what hurt the most? What stands out in terms of pain that was not a physical infliction of somebody harming you physically, but like what hurt you the most of all the times that you've been in prison?
Not, like I said, not being able to spend time with my son and my grandson. That was the most painful thing, the thing that I experienced. And I also have to add to that, I lost my mother and I lost my father while I was incarcerated. So I never did get a chance to really just see them or tell them bye or anything like that. It was just hard to deal with. So those two issues were key for me as far as the pain that I experienced while I was incarcerated.
So this time, now that you've been out for about 90 days, and this is the crucial period for a lot of people in prison. There have been people who've been released from prison and they've gone back in 30 days,
Right.
60 days,
Right.
90 days.
Right.
Like they say, this is a very vulnerable period in a transition out. Like, what has been the most challenging for you since your release?
Probably just having that unconditional support from people who I met while I was in prison. I formed a lot of good relationships, what I thought to be a lot of good relationships while I was in prison. And I really felt that, they would be there for me. And some have. I might, mention, a friend of mine named Tim Galvin. Also, what's up, Tim? Tim's a great guy, mentor, sponsor, friend, all of the above. But there were other people who I confided in and thought that they would be there, not for monetary gain or anything like that, but just, facing everyday struggles while you are out here as opposed to in there, that sometimes you can't, automatically navigate through. Right. And you need people to kind of just tell you, okay, look, you're going too far to the left or you're going too far to the right. Those people were not there for me, and it was kind of hard to deal with, at first, because I really thought that they would be. But all in all, God is good, and I work my way through it anyway. And I think that a lot of times that's what happens with a lot of people. The reason why they do return to prison.
So, this particular stretch of prison, you were back 12. What was it? 10 years, or 9 years, 8 years, 12?
It was roughly about 6 years.
So about 6 years.
Yeah.
So in 6 years, one of the things that the stereotype, and maybe it's true, that they think like if a person is caged for a certain number of years, the first thing they say they want to have sex when they get out of prison. What, and that's just so generic to say that, and it's may be true, may not be true. It just depends on the person. But relationships, how have you navigated your interactions with women since you've been out of prison?
Man, it's been challenging. I mean, it's been very difficult. First and foremost, I think that, anybody who comes out of prison, the natural reaction is to try to get with a female to get that immediate gratification or a bond or intimacy that you lack when you were not, able to do that when you were incarcerated. However, relationships, when you talk about relationships, that adds a whole nother layer of issues coming out of prison, and that's the part that I find myself not really ready to deal with in so many words. They're complicated. I mean, women want certain things that I'm not able to provide right now, because I'm working on myself.
Good.
And that's me, trying to, we talking about 90 days after 6 years. Right. So there's certain things that I want to accomplish that I have been able to accomplish since I've been out. But relationships are complicated, and women, they want certain things, and if you come into a relationship and you are not able to give them that, which most people coming out of prison aren't, able to give them that, it can complicate things. And when you try to force it and take on too much responsibility, you wind up, stressing yourself out, going back out there using, robbing or doing whatever you need to do to try to get this money to help her out or help a situation out, even though she might end even knowing what you're doing, or be unaware of that. But it can be complicated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you basically taking it slow, doing self-care.
Self-care, self-management. Taking it one day at a time. I had goals when I got out, and to reestablish my credit, things of that nature.
So far, so good.
Yeah, because I actually want to, own a house.
Absolutely.
I actually want to buy a vehicle of my choice.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be, just get out there,
Yeah.
and just jump out there and just get in kind of vehicle. I want to
don't
ride
want
like
that.
you.
Yeah. I was blessed. I want to say that I was blessed getting out of prison because of the work that I was involved in.
Yeah.
And people really, there are some wonderful people in America, and just Tennessee and Nashville.
Yeah.
People reached out to me. First car I got was a Cadillac, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to get a Cadillac, and I always wanted a Cadillac, so I wanted off my bucket list, but fully loaded, just was blessed, and I didn't pay a lot of money for it, so that's good. So why is it gonna be different for you this time than it was any other time?
Because there's an old saying, and I don't want to sound like a cliche, but there's a saying that we used to say, and I've heard it said in certain recovery groups that you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Okay.
And I know that I'm not getting any younger. I just celebrated a birthday, 29th of January.
Happy birthday!
And,
you Aquarius?
Yeah,
Oh,
no
wow.
doubt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Your water barriers are the best. I'm Aquarius. Got a birthday coming up.
Yeah.
Without water, the world doesn't even exist. It's just
Exactly.
a piece of dirt.
Exactly.
Everything comes out of water.
Exactly.
We were born out of a sack of water. So
Exactly.
water barriers. Aquarius, number one sign.
Number one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, it's going to be different because, I things have changed. Like I said, I've gotten older, I've gotten wiser, and I've learned from my mistakes of the past. And, that's a part of my life that I really don't want to forget because there's a lot of people that are still in my situation that I just left that I want to help and I want to encourage and let them know that you can, you can make it out here.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
So, it's going to be different because, like I said, I'm more focused now, I'm more driven now, and there's a certain amount of things that I want to accomplish while I'm out here.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being perfection, where would you rate yourself with respect to what you intended to do upon your release from prison? Where would you say, what's the rating you give yourself right now?
Man, I'm giving myself right now I'm right at about a 6, and that's 3 months out.
3 months out of 6. That's better than 50%. That's 60%.
Yeah.
So you're 60% where you wanted to be. You're 60% of what you intended to do. But in terms of your plan, I'm asking about like to the letter of judgment of the plan that you had before you were released from prison. How would you grade yourself with respect to like when I get out, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. For example, I happen to know that you have a credit card now. I don't know where that fit in. I know you have a bank account now. You have a savings account now. I know that you do have intentions to acquire your license.
Yeah.
And that's coming at some.
Yeah, that's coming in a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks.
That's coming in a couple of weeks.
Would you say, like, in terms of savings, like you doing the things that you really want to do, you being responsible financially, budgeting, or would you say I'm just kind of like, maybe not as like I want to be, but what?
Well, not where I really want to be right now as far as budgeting is because, it's all a part of the plan too.
Right.
Because, when I got out, I was blessed to, get a job at Nissan as an engine tech. A lot of people, they actually did not have that opportunity to do those type of things that I have. You know what I mean? So I'm extremely blessed in that matter. Right. But at the same time...
So you're working in Nissan right now?
Yeah, I'm working in Nissan.
How long have you been working in Nissan?
I've been working in Nissan about 90 days. February the 16th, I started with a temporary service. Shout out to Project Return.
Wow, okay.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Project Return. But I transitioned to a full-time Nissan February the 16th, which is a couple of weeks.
So you do endorse re-entry programs?
Oh, absolutely. Project Return is an awesome project. I'm talking about, they're an awesome program. Every time that, they get a chance, they come out to where I am. I'm also involved with the Men of Valor program, which is a tremendous program. They have... they just have some great people, some caring people at that program. But Project Return, what they do is they send somebody out there at least twice a week. You know what I mean? To just check on me, see how we doing.
Wow, that's good.
And all of that.
Do you know them personally, or do they
Yeah,
just
that's
like
Audrey.
staff people?
No, that's
great.
Audrey. Yeah.
So you've been working at Nissan for 90 days.
Yeah.
Straight out of prison, pretty much.
Right.
So do they hire people who are not in prison?
You mean do they hire prison
people who are not in prison, like that have not been in prison?
Yeah, of course.
So if you got a job at Nissan, somebody else can get a job at Nissan who has never been in prison.
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, that's good. What about your health care? Do you have health insurance?
Yeah, well, actually, when I started Nissan, I mean, the company that I'll be working for, which is Yates, they actually, they're a subsidiary of Nissan. They actually built the whole Nissan plant, and they also started a employment service when that plant was actually built. But I will be working for them directly with the Nissan company. But they have great health insurance, great dental, great eyeglasses. Like I said, you get you get a pair of eyeglasses, free eyeglasses. I'm talking about top-notch eyeglasses, free every year. You know what I mean? And these are eyeglasses that you actually can wear on the plant floor because they safety approved and everything like that, and they're free. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna be checking in with Leonard periodically over time, but I don't want to close this interview out without just drilling down on why should we believe you? Not we, but like you made parole, right?
Right.
It's hard to get out of prison.
Right.
You just don't get out of prison like, oh, it's time to go for parole and they let you go.
Right.
How many times did you get turned down before they actually let you go this time?
I got turned down about 3 times. About 3 times.
So, why is it going to be different? I mean, that's really what I want to press you on. Why is it going to be different? Like, what's the magic?
Well, I mean, the magic is that, I mean, and you kind of know this, Rahim. The magic is that I wouldn't even call it magic. I would just call it just reality. You know, I don't want to ever sit across from somebody and have them determine my life again. I don't want to do that. That is the most helpless feeling that a person could ever go through. You know what I mean? In their whole entire life. You know, I don't want to, that's never going to happen again. Nobody is ever going to sit across from me and tell me what I can and cannot do again, and that's not going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, one of the things that I can say about my success, and I am nearly, come June, 5 years transitioning out of prison, and
how you doing,
I'm still trying to be free, and yet it's still a struggle. But here's what I know. My relationships are paramount to my success, which is a community. And I rely on my community. I depend on my community, my friends, and they tell me what I need to know, what I need to hear. I default. One of my best brothers is Terrence Williams, baby. He's been out for over 10 years. Yeah. When I don't know, he my go-to guy. Right. And I'm like, look here, bro. This is my situation, X, Y, Z. If it's not a situation where I feel comfortable, that because it's not that kind of situation, I call up one of my friends that I met while I was in prison. My community is a very compassionate community of people who, I mean, they real humans, man. I mean, when I think about them, I'm smiling because without them, I don't think I would have survived prison in the same way psychologically. But now that I'm out, it has continued, and I just want to say to you, which you already probably know, but I just want to reinforce that: stay with your community, call on your friends, and don't ever feel too much pride to where you feel like you can't, ask somebody for some help that you may not really know the answer to, because that's the key. Right. Don't ever go it alone, because human beings are social creatures. Right. We don't have to go it alone. When you go it alone, me, you, and anybody else that's been in prison for over 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, we do that by choice, not by force. So I want to thank you for sharing, and I look forward to seeing much more success and anything that the Unheard Voices Outreach can do to aid and assist you more. We definitely intend to do that, and I just want to say, bro, I'm proud of you because we stayed connected, and everything that you told me you would do, you've done, and I don't have any reason to expect for you to do anything other than that. So with that said, if there's any last thing you want to say to the Unheard Voices community, you can say that now. If not, I'm just going to say peace be upon everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you basically summed it up. Stay connected. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm here doing this interview with you. I mean, we go way back to the, 90s.
90s.
And
I got pictures too. We might reveal some of those pictures one day.
Yeah,
until we're ready to do that, we won't. But we had some good days, some good times. I mean, we can laugh at those days, and we laughed actually. We were laughing people in prison.
Yeah, we did.
We cut up, when we were, doing our thing. But that's another story. So, bro, thank you very much, and I appreciate you. Could you